Good evening. I'm taking a break from watching Hidden Colors, the untold history of people of Aboriginal and Moors and African descent. Found out that Moors pretty much means African descent. Aboriginals, I guess that's how you say that. It's pretty good. It's long. Some names in there. So, it's all about African continent, the original names of it, the explorers, and how it's like the real, true, unstored. It's very interesting because I think that to understand where racism, there's three parts of it. There's one's the last part is the rules of racism. And the second tape is I don't see. But anyway, it's three parts. So I got the first one, and it starts off in Africa. It starts off before the European found out about it. It's very interesting, and it goes to South America, and how they was traveling here before the European, how they had a Moor on. You gotta understand the Moor. They were with the Masons. The ones and Masons were the builders. They studied science, and they used science and nature as its medicines. Like they brought plumbing to your, like the kings and queens were actually living sort of like in something like would be called today a barn, where they had their animals and stuff in there, their chickens and their cows, and and they didn't have a way of taking away their waste. So it's very interesting, it's very educational, and it's very enlightening, especially at this time where we have a big racist problem where I guess I'm gonna we had a young man that was killed here in Memphis, Darius Stewart. He was a passenger, and the car got pulled over by the police, and the guy that was driving it, he had a driver's license, registration, everything was in order, except for I think he had a tail light out. Well, the policeman asked the other guy that was sitting in the passenger seat for his driver's license, and he said, "Oh, I don't have my ID." And somehow, it got to where his mom just lived around the corner, probably had his ID. Well, anyway, the cop decided to put him in the back of the police car. And it's illegal. I never heard of I've never had a cop ask me as a passenger, if I had a driver's license. I think maybe one time when the person wanted me to drive the car back to their house, because they were taking them to jail, and they're like, "Well, but they didn't run it or nothing. They just looked at it, and it was, they just go ahead." But I wasn't drunk or anything. So I think they were drunk. But anyway, but I've never heard of that. It's illegal, and so they had him in the back of the squad car. And then they found out when he was 13, he got accused by a 12-year-old girl of sexual harassment. Actually, two little 12-year-old girls, which I fault his parents for not making him go to court and getting that taken care of, because between a 12 and a 13-year-old, if the parents could, they could have been a misunderstanding. He's young. He just needs to, somebody to talk to him, to tell him the appropriate way to, to handle a woman. But anyway, he was 19 then, and he had not gotten in any trouble since the age of 13. So, but anyway, they shot this boy dead. So they probably, and when you think about it was a white policeman here in Memphis and they've had some rallies and visuals, you know. And if you think about, if you want to really understand the history and understand why the white man is so hell bent on not giving us good education and not giving us good food, you find out that since, you know, we were skilled workers, you know, especially once they enslaved us, but we were skilled workers and we were very clever people than them, because you know, and they just wanted what we had, but they didn't want to, you know, they didn't want to. So their whole thing is, so like, well, anyway, the way I learned it in the old days, when the old folks said, for every one of us, we got to take 10 of them, and don't believe that there's more brown people, there's more people of color, and it's also mentioned in this book. They're only like 10% of the world is really, you know, like Caucasian or white, because they're easy. Like if they breed with anybody else, they you know, like look at Obama, right? But anyway, so they're receptive. So I'm getting hot again. I'm turning the fan on. But we're in a heat wave still. It's like this whole month has just been unbelievably hot. So it's 9 o'clock. So the heat of Iowa is supposed to have been over at 8. Anyway, so I find it very interesting if you're a person of melon and you want to learn more about your history and learn, you know, why it's so important for them to oppress us, and, you know, they had erased us from their histories. It's what, and I've seen the pyramids in Mexico, so I know that a lot of our history has been, like, well, you know, in school, like the only thing they tell you about the Indians is like when the white people show up in their history, but there's a long history beforehand. It's been documented. These people, you know, and I see why now that they are actually killing our planet. It's because of their ignorance. It's because of their let's just say that every commandment, you know, all 10 of them, is what they go you know, we have the prostitution. You know, if a man has more than one woman, that man is going to be a person that catches syphilis. If that man is with like you know, like say he has 2 or 3 women, and one of those women has two or three somebody, and you know, so you start multiplying other diseases and other stuff to where we have now escalated to where we have AIDS. You know, we still have syphilis, gonorrhea, and all the other stuff, but it's escalated to where we have AIDS, and that's basically where we're at today. And a lot of it is they trying to destroy the black person, you know, like trying to belittle us and making us think that we're monkeys. Well, if we're monkeys, this is the planet of the motherfucker monkeys. You know what I'm saying? Well, you know, and there's nothing wrong with us seeing ourselves as being part of nature, being a mammal, being an animal. You know, because if we're made in the likeness of God, then you know, there's no, you know, hey, my God is gorgeous and beautiful. So anyway, excellent Hidden Colors. I recommend it. I recommend get all 3 of them. I haven't done all 3 of them, but I'm going to. Is it focused? Can you see it? It's written by a lot of great people. I don't want to mess up anybody's names. It's Dr. Phyllis Valentina, Umar Johnson, Triquez Narcelle, Dr. Booker T. Coleman. Now this name I don't know, and it's real little. Sherby Bry, and a Dr. Francis Crest Welsing. And those are the people that are in it, and excellent. It's being narrated by those people I just named. Most of it is. It says Hidden Colors, a documentary about a real and untold history of people of color around the globe. The film discussed some of the reasons the contribution of African Americans as Aboriginal people have been left out of the pages of history. Traveling around the country, the film features scholars, historians, social commentaries who uncover such amazing facts about things such as the origin image of Christ, the true story about the Moors, the original people of Asia, the great West African empires, the presence of Africans in America before Columbus, the real reason slavery was ended, and much more with interviews from these are other names. I don't really want to butcher them up. The other names I named before, but there's one name I don't remember. It's an Arabic name. The last name is Allah. So it's Shariza. Once I get past the little letters, I get back. Well, anyway, so I recommend this again, Hidden Colors, 3 novels. It's all about African Americans. It's about Moors. It's about Negroes. It's about people of color. And have a happy Saturday. And let's hope that eventually, well, it'll cool off, but I guess we're gonna have a super cold winter because we have our way of living, you know, and to destroy one, you know, like, 'cause you can see why people are very good with war and very good with killing. Like, if you think about Vietnam and you think about like those other wars they had, they used Agent Orange, killed the jungle, you know, it killed all the vegetation, and it caused some harm to a human too. But of course, we also are living in today, and then they mined the area, so the Vietnamese really couldn't go back to their way of life. So this is something that we have to think about. How, like, none of our stuff is manufactured in the United States anymore. It's manufactured in Vietnam. That's because black folks are making too much money. That's what happened to Detroit. White folks is going to destroy this earth. For what? It's in their nature. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to comprehend that maybe there's 100 other ways you could also make money without such self-destruction. They just don't want to be clever enough. So it's sad, but I do think that the way things are progressing, and the way our politics, and the way that we treat the majority of our people in the world, that the world will die before we will, and it's just, you know, so. And the white man is never going to be a god. He just simply, it's not in him. Can't break all the 10 Commandments. And I'm just talking about murder, like in war. And I could go on, like the sex industry. But anyway, good night.